Maite wore green high-top Converse with a heart she had hand-drawn on the right toe because they represented her love of nature. Camilla's got these shoes. Can you show these shoes, please? Wore these every day. Green Converse with a heart on the right toe. These are the same green Converse on her feet that turned out to be the only clear evidence that could identify her after the shooting. How about that?
How about that? Those replicas of the sneakers worn by one of the tiny victims of the mass shooting in Texas were among the most disturbing images that were used today by Uvalde native Matthew McConaughey as he pleaded for tougher gun legislation. Tomorrow, an 11-year-old survivor of the shooting, the little girl who smeared herself with her best friend's blood so she could appear dead, she'll be testifying before House members about those desperate moments she faced and will face for the rest of her life. Still with us to discuss, Eugene Robinson and Mark McKinnon. Gene, a Senate committee today heard from the son of one of the victims of the shooting in Buffalo, New York. I want you to watch this.
What are we supposed to do with all our anger and all of our pain? Do you expect us to continue to just forgive and forget over and over again? And what are you doing? You elected to protect us, to protect our way of life. I ask every one of you to imagine the faces of your mothers as you look at mine, and ask yourself, is there nothing that we can do?
Incredibly emotional moments. We're hearing them day in and day out. We're going to hear more tomorrow, but we've been hearing them for years. Gene, do you have any confidence that this time it will move the needle?
No, I don't. I have hope. I have hope. Look, the encouraging noises coming out of the Senate, the bipartisan negotiations, it seems like they could actually produce a very, very weak bill, something that would encourage states to impose red flag laws, something that maybe could slightly tighten background checks, and then they want to talk about mental health, which good luck if you're going to solve mental health. The problem is the gun, and nothing is directly going to be done about guns. I hope against hope that at least they could raise the age nationally for buying an assault rifle from 18 to 21. But it looks doubtful that that's going to come out of the Senate. Maybe, surprise me, please. It is, that said, if we can move 1 centimeter closer toward sensible, sane, life-saving gun policies, then sure, that's better than staying where we are. We've tried doing nothing, and that doesn't work. So if they come up with just that much, I say swallow hard, approve it, and keep working at it. And these family members shouldn't have to do this. They shouldn't have to come and face Congress in these moments of grief. An 11-year-old girl going to come tomorrow to a hearing. That is absolutely that's outrageous. That's horrific that they have to do this in order to try to get through to Congress on this issue that is costing so many lives and causing so much tragedy.
Mark, today we heard the reasoning why AR-15s are useful, why they're needed. We heard it from South Dakota's John Thune. I want you to watch this.
In my state, they use them to shoot prairie dogs and, other types of varmints. And so I think that there are legitimate reasons why people would want to have them.
Varmints. That type of gun was used and killed those kids last week and hurt them so badly that young girl was unrecognizable except for her green sneakers.
It's stunning, Stephanie. I mean, I would love to have seen that senator defend himself before one of the parents of those kids who were shot by saying, yeah, we need these weapons of mass destruction to stop the menace of prairie dogs. And this is like an emerging Republican talking point. that we need them for varmints. I mean, it's like a goddamn cartoon. The other one, so we need them to stop raccoons. And
hogs.
Yeah, and feral hogs.
Yeah, feral
so that's
hogs.
the defense of Republicans. We need assault rifles for varmints, and that's it. And McConaughey was so powerful today because he humanizes, and I think that's the problem: is that these senators are so removed from reality, they don't realize that we're talking about not just human beings, but 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds, kids in elementary schools who are being literally blown up so they can't be recognized by anything other than their tennis shoes. And the thing that's really disturbing to me, Stephanie, is the fact that 44% of Republicans now say we just have to accept the status quo of mass killings going forward.
Well, Matthew McConaughey, he didn't just speak at the White House today. He then went on Fox News and made that same emotional plea. Gene, do you think it's more important, that Fox News visit or the visit to the White House?
The Fox News visit may be more important. It really may be. He needs to reach the majority of gun owners who support sensible, reasonable gun control, sensible, reasonable measures to attack gun violence, who know about weapons, who understand the difference between, what you need for varmints and weapons of war. So I think that outreach is very, very important. But again, does even that get fed into the Republican caucus in the Senate? They seem to be completely sealed off from reality. Public opinion has been for gun control in this country for a long time, and they cannot be moved. It is a national disgrace.
Prairie dogs and varmint. That is the response to 19 children and 2 teachers being murdered less than 2 weeks after 11 people at a grocery store. Eugene Robinson, Mark McKinnon, I thank you both for joining us tonight. We're going to leave it there.